I was laid off twice in 1 year. I've been out of work for 6 months. I mean, people's lives are at stake.
So I hope you guys liked the first episode of Paul Claxton. And in that episode, he was telling about his life journey, how he transitioned himself from a military person to an entrepreneur. And now in this episode, you will be going to master how you can earn millions of dollars in just 30 days. How can you scale up your business? So do watch the episode completely. AI is a buzzword nowadays, and many entrepreneurs they are using AI for the growth of their businesses, but they are not getting results. Number one, what is the main reason behind it? And on the other side, we see you are running a VC company with the help of AI. So, what do you think where those startups are going wrong, and what sort of mistakes they are making if they are not getting success with the help of AI?
I think unfortunately we have a lot of founders out there that are just trying to be things that they're not. And so a lot of founders are out trying to build companies like it's 2030. You know what I'm saying? And it's like building a company with all that complexity and just all that noise. It's a huge. It's not lean. It's a huge detractor. Towards scalability. Um, Imagine how much more candid it was to build a company, how much more clarity you had in terms of building a company back in 2000 versus today. It's much more complex today. In some ways it's easier, but you know 2000, it was pretty straightforward. It wasn't very complex. Maybe you had some conference calls, a lot of cold calling, attending events, sending emails, things like that. Um, but there wasn't like all these systems like AWS and Slack. How do we integrate Slack? How do we incorporate AWS? Which service? Which technical infrastructure are we going to use? Microservices, or monolith? What are we going to go with? Um, what's the right path for AI for our company? So there's been this like advertisement going around in the industry. Is like if you're not AI, then you're if you're not the first to AI, then you're last. um, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I don't think that should be taken it necessarily. I think it should be taken with a grain of salt. AI is not for every company. I think everyone uses it, but not every company needs to have AI built into it in the way that the market makes it seem, right? Like the market really glorifies AI, but there's different offerings of AI, right? So you have large language models. We have like neural linguistic programming, computer vision. There's all sorts of different things, right? That there's AI agents. Um, I mean, you can incorporate AI in so many ways into your business, but like anything, what's the ROI of that, right? Like how is it going to make your business more, but then like internally, like more efficient, right? Um, in essence, like, are you going to deliver effectiveness to your customers, to the market, right? Like, how does that help you differentiate yourself? So just like building an AI agent, isn't necessarily the answer. For a lot of businesses, they think it might be, but I see people using AI in a lot of different ways. Um, but you have to decide what's right for you, because AI is very much it's very much a ubiquitous technology, but I believe that a lot of entrepreneurs kind of see it as like the social media. It's like the social media today. In the early 2000s, everyone you had to be on social media, right? And I would say that is how you reach a lot of customers today, is through social media, definitely. Um, but it's not the only way that you reach customers. Um, so if you think that you're just going to slap social media, you're going to slap a logo up on LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever, and that's going to do it for you, then no, there's got to be a strategy and a purpose behind that, right? So AI is very much the same way. Otherwise you're just wasting your time. Like if you're spending social media marketing dollars to run campaigns online, but there's no strategy, and you're not relevant to the market in the first place, then like running campaigns on social media isn't going to do anything for you. And so AI is very similar. A lot of people will run marketing campaigns, but then like they don't understand the difference between marketing and advertising and sales. So um or at least they don't show it that they understand the difference. So advertising is like, how are we going to, you know what's our, like, are we going to use a billboard to put our slogan up, or are we going to put it in a newspaper? That's what kind of color scheme, et cetera, are we going to use, et cetera? When are we going to do it? When's the right time to advertise? Marketing gets more into the science, right? Like the psychology of it, right? And then sales, you have to have, you can't take people out of the equation, because no matter how much AI we have, it all centers around culture and people. So you can have all the AI agents that you want, but if there's eventually no human to talk to, then that's it's not going to work. Unless you have like a unless your product is so off the shelf, plug and play, that I can just buy this product from an agent and then I can walk right out. Like kind of like when if you ever go to an airport, they have these stores where you can just it'll scan your face, and then you walk in, pick the product you want, and then you just walk through the register. There's no staff or agents, and you just pay and you walk out. So if you've got a business like that runs AI agents like that, where your product is that, how do I say it? Like your product is that normalized, where they can just pick something off the shelf, then yeah, AI agents will work, and maybe that's really scalable. But by and large, most businesses aren't like that. At some point, you need to have a person involved. And so I would just ask yourself, like, what do you think AI is? And then why do you think you need it? So, because quite frankly, AI is not even at a point where by and large, where we can completely remove humans out of the loop. Even the best AI systems still need to have a human around, like autonomous vehicles. Even the best AI systems still need to have a human. You know, that's the problem. That's with autonomous vehicles. Like people are having car accidents because they're falling asleep at the wheel. Well, it was meant to assist. It's not meant to replace. Not yet. And so I think that's where we're getting. Just at a philosophical level, um, at a strategic level, we're getting AI messed up, and I think it is causing some issues. So, um, I think as an entrepreneur, I think we can eventually build AI to the point where it's recursive, and learns from itself. But we have to take gradual steps to get there. We're kind of in between neural intelligence and general intelligence, but we need to stop acting like it's some kind of super intelligence, because it's not.
So now let's discuss the main thing, which is fundraising, because you provide funds, you invest in startups, right? So let's say I'm running a web development company or software house, and I want to generate seed money. So how will you analysis like this particular business will grow in future, and what sort of potential you see? You see potential in that particular person, which is CEO or founder, or you see potential in the growth of a business?
That's a great question. Well, again, let's go back to the person. Um, an investor founder relationship is, um, a lot of people act like it's transactional, but it's really not. It's not a transactional relationship. It's a very immersive relationship, and you're at that point partners. It's not investor founder, it's partners. You're partners in business. And quite honestly, when I'm looking at a founder, um if they can't teach me, like if they can't teach me, and I to a point where, because I understand, because I wouldn't invest in things I don't understand, right? But I could be interested, but maybe I don't understand, right? And so if they can't help me understand about their business in a way that it makes sense to me, and it's like the light bulbs are going on in my head. So if they can't teach me about their business, then it's not going to work. um because as an investor, most investors are not experts in what they're investing in. They're experts in market dynamics, and they're economists. They're experts in market dynamics and industry alliances. But most investors are not experts in a specific industry or something like that, right? And that's where you get like the generalist investor, right? um some investors are specialists within a specific industry, and that's great, but a lot of times you have generalist investors. So it would be a lot of people have missed opportunities because they didn't understand them. So as an investor, it's important to, part of the due diligence process is being able to research and understand the industry, so you don't pass up good opportunities just because you didn't understand them, you didn't take the time to understand them, but then so you don't invest in bad ones, right? um so they need to be able to teach me about their product, how their product is solving problems both technically and operationally, and how it is subliminally fitting into the market as well. um so both direct and indirect, I need to be able to learn about their team and their product and their chosen market, as well as the problems, the potential use cases. If they can't teach me all those things, if there are multiple potential use cases that I can understand, you know, and if their team can't teach me that, then I can't move forward. The other thing is like, are they good followers, right? So leaders have to be good followers, but also like being a great, so being a great leader is being a great follower, but also part of being a great leader is knowing when to lead and take the driver's seat, and knowing when to follow, right? And so I know when to follow. I want them to teach me, but at the same time, I'm a specialist as an investor. I'm a specialist, and I'm also a specialist in with regards to being an economist, being a market analyst. I'm a specialist there, and so when I say, hey, I've stress tested your product in different scenarios against the industry. We've done all this due diligence. These are the things you should do. These are where you should. These are the milestones you should hit. And they don't do these things, or they make commitments and they don't follow through. Then you're not following me. You're not taking my guidance, and I can't help someone that wants to just take my money but doesn't want my guidance. So that's one. And then founders who lack they have a lack of curiosity. Again, curiosity is what is going to allow you to uncover hidden needs and opportunities that can help you move in different directions towards building a greater product and better solutions for the market, and opening up new doors and use cases and opportunities. And then if they lack process within their company, investors invest in process. Many times they say no because there's no process for every area of a company's operation, whether it be recruiting staff or it be marketing and sales, you know, or how their finances are managed. Like, how are you raising money if you don't have a CFO, or at least an advisor, like a fractional CFO? a financial executive. Like, how are you raising money? If you're a machine learning engineer, um, and you don't have anyone on your team that does marketing, you know, then, or at least an advisor or someone, but then you're out running a marketing campaign, like what kind of sense does that make? Because you don't know anything about marketing. Nothing in your LinkedIn profile or resume says, or your experience. Tell me about your experience. Nothing that I heard of is like, comes from marketing. Like, so what are you doing, like running a marketing campaign? You don't know what you're doing. You should stick to what you know and then delegate the rest, right? And that doesn't mean pass the buck off, but that what it does mean is know what to look for, you know, and then so know what to look for, know enough to be dangerous, but maybe not tactically efficient. So for example, I can build websites, but it takes me freaking probably 2 or 3 times as long as it would a professional website developer. So that's not really, I know enough to be dangerous. I can do WordPress, but it's not what I enjoy doing. But I, again, like I can read contracts, I can decipher and comprehend contracts, but I'm not a lawyer. So jack of all trades, know enough to be dangerous, but know when to delegate as well. So and that all boils down to self-sufficiency. Um, And then last but not least, when you're struggling as a founder and you have no capital, be scrappy. Please be scrappy. Um, like my company offers interns, many, many times, for less than a few $100 or, a few $100 a month. Or sometimes you know, um, for 3 months, and like anywhere, around $1,500 roughly. For 3 months, you can get an intern that is graduating from a top tier school, Ivy League. You know, that let's just say a machine learning engineer intern that's graduating from a top tier school. You can get that talent to maybe build your MVP very cheaply and very lean for, let's just say, $1,000 for a month, or 1,500 for a couple months or something like that. That's roughly what it costs, and you could get an MVP built pretty quickly with someone that went to a top tier school and had great education, probably knows how to build the MVP. So that's one thing. Be scrappy. um Barter and trade. you know um do things for people in the industry. I've seen a lot of people in this industry do terrible things with money to hurt people, and in venture capital and stuff, to hurt people, not help them, but help themselves. So money can be a tool to help people or hurt people. You know, but if let's it doesn't even necessarily take money to help people. It can be maybe talking on podcasts like this. Maybe someone got some good information from this podcast today. And so, you know, if you're putting intangible value out there sometimes in the market, it's a system of called barter and trade through knowledge, skills, and just doing favors for people. Right. And so if you can do favors for people, um, and help each other out, they'll help you. And one of my mentors told me in the past, he's like, "Do you know how the rich get richer?" I said, "No, I don't know how the rich get richer. Do they hoard all their money and put it in hidden vaults somewhere?" He's like, "No. Um, they always do one better for each other. So like if you loan me $10, you're just asking me to pay back $10. That's all I have to do. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna pay you back 15. Let's say you come back and ask me, hey, could you loan me, $20, right? I loan you $20 and you pay me back, 25. It's that cycle, right? So we're helping each other out, but we're doing a little bit more. We're going above and beyond. So just go above and beyond for people and develop a system of barter and trade, where you'll do favors for people, but not necessarily ask for something in return, not with caveats, but just that people would look out for you and you would look out for them. And if you can develop a personal culture like that, it becomes much easier to build a company when you've got confidence in the market and people that are willing to put themselves out there to help you.